Hooray, we're on to number 12. We're powering through this quilt. Now this is the design that we'll be working on today, and of course, as always, I love to start with the stems, and I'm doing the stem stitch on all the stems. But before you rush off, I want you to stay with me for a little while because I want to show you the way that I maneuver my stitch around those little side stems without having to come back to them. So from this point, there's the stem that I want to do. Instead of going in and continuing my stem stitch like this, I'm just going to go in and pop it out at the base of that leaf. And then from this point, I'm going to do the stem stitch down that little stem. And then when I get to the end, I'm going to pop my needle in, and then I'm going to bring it out as though I'm going to continue doing my original stem stitch. Now my needle has come out on the wrong side, so I'm just going to slide it under, put my thread where it should be, and then I'm going to continue on to the next one. Whoops. And now I want to show this to you again. So from this point, I've got two little stems, one at the top and one at the bottom. So again, I'm going to go in, but I'm going to pop my needle out at the base of that leaf, at the start of that little stem. Over here, I can literally only fit about 2 stem stitches, which is fine. So I'll do that one, pop it through, and then I'll go to the top of the other little stem and then stitch that one until it meets the main stem. Now you might have your own method of doing this. I thought I would share the way that I do it. For me, this is just quicker because I'm stitching all of the stems as I go, so it just means that I don't have to come back. So if you like it this way, you can do it this way, or just go your own way. Oh, and this time I brought my needle out on the right side, so it should be at the top there, and then I can continue. Next, we're going to do the leaves, and you guessed it, of course I'm doing them in the fly stitch. It's my favorite way of doing the leaves. Now I'm just going to follow those little printed veins on the leaf. You could actually use a different color if you wanted to. I'm using that light olive green, the 734, but if you wanted to do it in a darker green or even in the brown, it's completely up to you. Or even in the ecru, because the lines are kind of ecru. What's next? Oh yes, those little teardrop shapes. Now I'm just going to put one lazy daisy over each one. Whoops, one of my threads is a little bit pulled, so I'll just straighten that out. So it's literally just one lazy daisy on each one, and I bring my needle out onto the next one straight away so I don't finish off on the reverse. So there we are, just going to continue adding one single lazy daisy on each of those little teardrop shapes. Next, same color thread, I'm going to add a satin stitch on either of those, on both of those side petals, but look at how I'm starting in the center. So I've divided that shape in half on a diagonal. I'm stitching the top part first, and then I'm coming down and adding the satin stitches below. It just helps me keep my stitches a little bit more even so that they're not sort of changing direction as I go down. All right, next one, let's move on. This is the chain stitch, and I'm using the orange color. Very simple, very effective. I love the texture of the chain stitch, and I think it's really nice to do it along outlines. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to outline that orange shape using the chain stitch. Now I thought I would actually add something into that center part. Even though there's nothing printed in there, you can do whatever you like. I decided I've still got my orange thread and I'm right in the area, so I thought I'll just go and add a couple of fly stitches into that center part. You can do anything there that you like, and in different colors too, of course. Then I'm going to add a French knot on each of those little spots. Now notice that I'm only doing a single twist. I want to keep my French knots sort of little and dainty. I don't want them to be too big in that space. So I'll just show you once again. I'm doing only a single twist. Whoops. It just keeps them sort of petite looking. That's a good word for them, petite. I think if they were really chunky inside that space, maybe it wouldn't look so good. Now I'm going to outline those red scallop petals on the outside. I love outlining petals, and I think that outlining quite often is all that you need. So again, I'm using a stem stitch. You could outline them in the back stitch if you preferred, whatever's easier for you, of course, or you can fill them. You can do all of the petals with a satin stitch as well. That would look quite lovely. A bit more work though. So I'm just going to go ahead and outline all of them. And then I thought I'd add something into the center, maybe little single stitches, but then I decided I'm actually going to put a French knot inside each one. But this time I'm going to make my French knots a bit bigger, and I'm doing a double twist. So I'm twisting the thread around the needle twice, and then those French knots look a bit more prominent. They kind of stand out a bit more. And then I thought, why not just add something more? You could just keep going and going, adding little embellishments here and there as you like. This is just 5 little straight stitches in the center there. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial.